Welcome back, everyone, to the Netolic Raid Call Pro League East Division Winners Bracket Round 1. And we move towards a decisive third game between Vici Gaming and AFD. In the first game of the series, we saw AFD try out a CKIO combo so popular in Europe and America, and Vici Gaming showing exactly why Chinese teams aren't afraid of the composition, responding with a quick push and heavy pressure to take the first game out. In the second game, Vici Gaming relied upon a hard-farming anti-mage piloted by ZSMJ to try to take out a 4-protect 1 strat over AFD's mid-game sort of death ball pushing and ganking composition. And in the end, a couple extremely inventive plays from AFD brought down the very farmed anti-mage, and they took out Game 2. Game 3, poised on a knife edge, both of these teams. The winner moves on into Winners Bracket Round 2. The loser moves on into the Losers Bracket, where they can still make it all the way to the end of the tournament, but it'll be a very, very hard road indeed. Both teams will be looking to prove something with this third game, and we only have to see who will actually take it out. Quick shout out to our sponsor for this tournament, Raid Call. Is it our official sponsor? www.raidcall.com. Great voiceover RP program. They are doing all the prize pool for this tournament, as well as giveaways in Raid Call channel 2013. That's 2013. You can check out that out anytime the tournament is running. So, I am Vikramon, your official English caster. My co-caster here is El Presidente. How you doing, man?
I'm doing quite well. You?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm so psyched that we're going to a third game. It was scary for a second there, man. It was scary. But VG, I love this drafting from them actually stealing out that Queen of Pain. It's not even that they love Queen of Pain so much, although CTY is an excellent Queen of Pain player. It's partially to take it away from Chibi.
I don't know how they're really going to lane this, though, with... I guess it would be offlane and Queen of Pain, midding Dragon Knight and tri-lane Lifestealer.
That's true. The lanes are a little bit tricky. I do think that mid Queen of Pain could work, but more likely, yeah, we'll see the reprise of the Dragon Knight mid. And then, why not a 3 vs 3 lane in the top and Queen of Pain solo safe?
I feel like Despicable Me 2 or AFD might be going for the Phantom Lancer here.
We'll see. What would you think of a PL pick here?
It would be fantastic because Vici Game is not going to have any responses by the time the second ban phase goes through. Oh, but it's Weaver instead.
Weaver. Okay. What's your take on this?
Well, that's probably going to be their offlaner. I'm assuming it's their offlaner unless they pick a higher priority 1 or less priority 2 role.
Well, we'll have to see in the second phase. I do think the PL could have worked, but Weaver does have strengths against Lifestealer that you always like to talk about. I mean, he's
absolutely
tough to slow. He does a lot of damage. He can really just prey on the fact that Lifestealer actually folds to a lot of physical damage if he gets armor reduction items. And this could be very strong, frankly. It also is able to dodge quite a bit of Queen of Pain with clever movement.
Yeah, the only problem then comes down to the fact that he's not the strongest laner because of really damage issues, and he's a very squishy little insect who scuttles very fast. But
they can focus their entire ban phase on strong supports and ensure that VG doesn't get the tri-lane they want.
This is true. They can look at me banning out the Rubik is already picked up. Shadow Demon's already banned. Bane isn't popular. I guess Lina?
They could get Bane, honestly. I think you underrate Bane. Chinese teams will pick him up. They recognize the strength of the hero. IG actually picks him up quite a bit.
Yeah, but IG also goes for like ultra aggressive, let's murder everybody type deal, and I don't feel like Vici Gaming really likes playing that kind of style when they have a farmer like CSMJ. Right. That said, they did do that kind of anyways in game 1, but that's, I think, in large part because they had such a strong early game edge with their tower pushing.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I really like this Chen ban, actually. In concert with the Dragon Knight, this could still pivot into a very strong pushing lineup, and so the Chen is smart for that. Do you think they'll also ban out the Shrek?
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't put it past them, because that is one of the better supports to go with the Lifestealer. That said, it still leaves not too many supports left for Vici Gaming. Leshrak, Lina, Lion, Bane. Those are the big ones that come to my mind right now.
Right. Yeah. PL does finally get taken out, so Vici Gaming recognizing the possibility of a PL #1 and a Weaver on the offlane. So pretty smart that banning there, I think. Both teams banning very, very intelligently. I like this Juggernaut ban is actually quite interesting. I don't think AFD would have pivoted into the Juggernaut, but I do like the Magnus PL. I like the Silencer ban. That really screwed them over first game, honestly. Although a big factor of that was the fact that they were running the CKIO. And they actually take out Lina, so they're okay with Leshrac hitting the board. They just want to take out that extra damage that the Lina brings. Because, of course, the magic damage Shu is a little bit on the other foot here. With Queen of Pain and Dragon Knight, we saw CTY go heavy Breathe Fire the first game. And so DK could be, VG could be putting out a lot of magic damage here. And this doesn't change anything, really. The Shadow Shaman added on gives them that push. They could add Leshrac on as well. And Shadow Shaman, Leshrac, Dragon Knight is a pretty fearsome pushing lineup, in addition to dealing lots and lots of magic damage.
Yeah, it's actually really difficult to deal with because ward traps are not fun to deal with. The Hex on the Weaver is really nasty, and Shackles on Weaver is just as bad.
Yeah.
Weaver can actually be disabled for like up to 7 seconds just by Shadow Shaman.
Yep.
And at the same time, Shadow Shaman can ward trap like Cuddle or Rubik without any risk of retaliation, basically. Unless they build phase.
I do like this Shadow Shaman pick. This does mean that Weaver will be, I feel, pushed very heavily into trying to build out a Linken's. The combination of all the Shadow Shaman effects and potentially things like Dragon Tail coming out from Dragon Knight, I really think the Linken's is going to be a strong pickup in this game.
I agree. I think he's really going to need it against all of the single target abilities that are going to be flying his direction.
Wow, they're taking a lot of time to decide, actually. They basically need potentially a number 1. Oh! Huh.
Are they trying again?
Well, where would IO lane? Mid?
No, they would run a tri-lane with Keeper Light, Chaos Knight, and Wisp. They would put Weaver in the off lane, and they would mid Rubik.
Wow. We haven't seen mid Rubik in a while because, of course, his movement speed was reduced. His Fade Bolt damage was lowered. Do you actually think Rubik can do okay mid against Queen of Pain now?
That's the problem, is Queen of Pain. Maybe with a couple points of Null Field over Telekinesis, he'd be okay.
Tide Hunter.
And tied 5th for VG. So that gives them an off lane. Dragon Knight... Wait, what? No,
they're going to run a support Tide.
It's the support Tide, sorry. Yeah, support Tide, weird. Queen of Pain solo, Dragon Knight mid, I guess.
Okay.
TA. Alright.
So... It's still offlaning Weaver, but now the tri-lane's going to be Rubik, Coddle, and Chaos Knight.
Chaos Knight, yeah. So casual Chaos Knight, we've seen this before. It's not the worst thing in the world. He's still able to do quite a bit. They're obviously not as reliant on the IO combo, and they in fact will not have the IO combo. BKB going to be more important than ever for AFD in this game, I feel. In fact, it's going to be just really, really, really important that they actually get their BKBs. I mean, on TA, on Chaos Knight, it's going to be so dramatically... Oh, wow. VG all disconnect. I guess they're just reconnecting or something?
I believe that's the case, because they kind of left CTY behind.
That's not a nice way of telling somebody they're off the team.
CTY, you're our captain, but we can't play with you anymore.
Pause, please. Everybody leaves. They never come back.
You need a new team. Sad. But... Oh, nope, there goes CTY.
I think they didn't ask for a remake, so I think they're going to all rejoin.
They were also the team that paused, so...
Right. So, that gives us plenty of opportunity to introduce our Game 3 teams. You want me to take up VG this time, and you can take up AFD?
Go for it.
Alright. So, VG, CTY will go up in the middle on this Queen of Pain. We actually see ZSMJ on the Dragon Knight. So we might still see a mid, but it's going to be a mid ZSMJ on DK, if so. Otherwise, maybe we'll actually see, I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see how they end up laning, but the players and which heroes they're on is very interesting to me. CTY on Qualp, ZSMJ on the Dragon Knight, Phi will go up on Tidehunter, Fenrir on the Shadow Shaman, and XTT actually hitting up that Darkseer.
Lifestealer.
Did I say Darkseer?
You did say Darkseer.
He plays Darkseer a lot, okay? XTT will be going up on the Lifestealer.
Well, on AFD, we're seeing Rubik played by KS. In mid, we're seeing Chibi X33 on the TA with the very nice set. I actually really like that set.
Great set.
Ken is playing the Chaos Knight. We're seeing Shaolin Kid on the Keeper of the Light, and Rave Clue playing offlane Weaver.
Yep. I like this. I like these lineups. I think AFD have made something of a rather weird draft where maybe after the pickup of the Shadow Shaman, they took a lot of time to decide how they were going to go. Seemed like they might go for the CKIO again, and frankly, I was terrified for them. But they decided not to. And I do think that the pickup of the TA does mean that they have a little bit more solid of a laning situation.
I do agree, and mid TA is not going to fare that well against Quap just because Dagger is very, very difficult for ATA to deal with. But TA is quite good at dealing with Dragon Knight's high armor thanks to his meld armor reduction, her meld armor reduction.
Right. So we do see VG does look like they're coming back into the game. So tell me about VG's lanes. That's my really big question here. Because they do have their number 3 on the Lifestealer. They've got their number 1 on the Dragon Knight and their number 2 on the Quap. So does this mean anything for the lanes? Or do you still think it's going to be that aggressive try, solo safe, and mid?
I don't know. Maybe it's an offlane Lifestealer, and I haven't seen that since I first started casting live tournaments.
Mouse ran it a few... Not Mouse. Some European clan ran it, but I don't know how much I favor that. I actually wouldn't mind seeing Dragon Knight solo safe, I feel like.
Depends on who he's soloing against. If it's the Weaver for certain, and it is, I guess Dragon Knight would be pretty good against that. I don't know if he needs to be there though.
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't know. I still feel like XCT might be better off playing against the Weaver than ZSMJ would be on the Lifestealer. Just because, Lifestealer can just kind of heal back the harass a little bit faster than ZSMJ would. And also gives XCT...
Well, they both heal back the harass. I mean...
Pretty quickly,
yeah,
they do.
The
But
Dragon Blood.
it also gives XCT a jungle to farm at the same time. So...
True.
It's interesting. It's weird. So lag.
Maybe I can remake. Hang on. Well, their lag is... Yeah, it's not fantastic. I'm gonna ask if they want a remake. Sorry, folks, we're figuring out if VG can actually continue with this on the server, or if I should remake.
Hashtag YOLO swag.
YOLO swag, bruh, no less. I mean, let's figure out confirmation from the teams. Yeah, alright. We're gonna remake, folks, so just give us a second. Alright, folks, we're back up into it. Going to see if the lag situation in this new lobby is any better. Let's hope that it is. I really, really do hope that we managed to get the game up and going. We do have our draft complete. AFD, they do have this Templar Assassin anchored composition with the Chaos Knight safe farming with the Keeper of the Light and Rubik and Weaver on the offlane. Meanwhile, VG, they have secured that Queen of Pain, so for the first time in this series, we won't see we won't see Chibi X33 on that Queen of Pain. This time we will see CTY piloting it. Meanwhile, Dragon Knight and then Shadow Shaman Tidehunter as the supports and Lifestealer will round out the rest of this VG lineup. So both teams with a lot of potential threats. They bring a lot to the table. And the question is, which team will actually be able to use its lineup to the best effect? I really think this is game 3 that will really come down to which team executes better. And the team that has the superior execution may well find themselves in winner's bracket round 2. So here we go. Everybody's loaded up in. You here?
Yeah, I am here, if almost asleep.
What is it over there? 6 o'clock? And you've been up since 3? Not too bad, buddy. Not too bad.
Yeah, but I also am an awful planner and went to bed at 11.
See, that's not a good idea.
Yeah, it's because the casting sessions end for me around the afternoon ones around 6, so I don't usually go straight to sleep after that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. And,
AFD, by the way. Heading into, I guess VG are trying to reconnect again. Maybe they don't have a fantastic connection to the server. I don't know. Trying to sort of find the ideal server configuration so that teams don't lag up too hard. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like we found it just yet, folks. Okay, they're going to restart their network. Alright, that's fine. Alright, folks. Hang on for a second. So, this first blood attempt. So we have AFD charging up into the bottom jungle. When VG come in here, who do you actually think would be favored in a 5v5 clash at level 1?
5v5 clash.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to say I'm giving the edge to VG just by virtue of Tidehunter. It's a pretty hard ability to steal the Ravage with Rubik when you lack the...
Oh, I meant at level 1. We can talk about the later 5v5
at
later.
level 1? I have no idea. I honestly have no idea.
So you got Shackle. You probably have Dragon Tail.
You probably have the Open Wounds. You probably have Gush, and you probably have Dagger if you're midding.
That's a lot of slow and stun. But on the other hand, AFD, they might not bring much stun, but they'll bring a lot more damage.
They'll have Shikuchi, Refraction most likely, Levitate, Chaos Bolt, and Illuminate.
Right.
So it's hard to say. It's really hard to say. I guess it depends on who gets the jump. The problem is that they start focusing on Chibi, they're not going to get anything done. So
it's an interesting situation. Now, I do think that the more common outcome... I don't know if VG are aware of the threat brought by these 5 characters. If any less than 5 VG players come into that lane, I do think that AFD convincingly takes it. If it's a matter of fewer people, then... Sorry, if it's a matter of all 5, then I think VG have a decent shot. But if they just get picked off, then this is going to be a quick first blood for AFD, and that first blood will be very useful.
yeah, I totally agree. And oh man, these connection issues.
Well, they're restarting their network, I think, and if they're all in a team house.
Are they in a team house?
I think so.
That would make sense. I don't think AFD has a team house though, because they don't have a sponsor, to my knowledge.
AFD does not have a team house. I know for a fact.
Yeah.
But I think VG are in the same place, or at least a few of them are.
Yeah, that seems to be the case based on the fact that they're restarting the network and everyone disconnects to reconnect.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, sorry folks, we are trying to get the best game we can. We don't want to sort of have one team have 400 ping all game, because that would be very irritating. So we will resume the game as soon as VG have their stuff sorted out. Even if we have to do maybe one more remake, we'll see. Interestingly, the first 2 games we had no real issue. It's just this game that we've sort of struggled.
It's like that timing could not have been worse. Because this is like the the game 3 and one team now has a severe disadvantage due to lag. That's honestly not the ideal situation to be walking into.
Right. And we've had a lot of connection issues for various teams today. More in the Western scene, I know the G1 qualifier games got severely delayed or even postponed, I think. But just both teams really just VG here, having some trouble actually getting a good connection to the server. We'll see once they all reconnect whether that actually improves their lag situation. Hopefully it will, and we can just get started, which would be great.
Yeah. That's like all I have to add. It's like this should be the best game in the series, hopefully.
I mean, it's certainly the most consequential. This game will determine who gets sent into the losers bracket. Now, talking about the tournament structure for a second, the team that loses here goes up into the losers bracket round 2, and that means that they have to win that, which is a best of 1. They have to win the losers bracket round 3, which is also a best of 1. Then I think that takes them to the losers bracket final, which is actually a best of 3. Sorry, so 2 best of 1s, and then the losers bracket final, best of 3. And then and only then will we have a losers bracket champion that can contest the winners bracket winner. The team that wins here will go to the winners bracket round 2, which is actually the winners bracket final. If a team wins here and wins its next set, they are the winners bracket finalists. They go immediately to the grand final. So it is definitely to a team's interest to actually be able to connect back up into that. It's not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, I was thinking about 2 different things. It's to a team's interest to actually be able to win here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely very important to win this match, because if you get put into the winner's bracket, it gives you that safety net. Yeah. You don't have to be as concerned about having only one game to show off your stuff and to do your best, because if you don't bring your A game for that one game in that loser's bracket, you're going to have a problem. And for some teams especially who tend to be more adaptive, a best of 1 format does not suit their style.
Absolutely. Best of 1 is, it's a crucible. Teams can run pocket picks against you. If you are a well-researched team, as a lot of these winners bracket teams are, the losers bracket teams, you have some teams that are less known, or they've made some roster changes, or it's a little unpredictable, and maybe they don't have the game corpus that you can just sort of research and look up all their replays. But for better-known teams like Orange, like VG, if you get sent down to the losers bracket, you have to be aware that a lot of teams that you'll face will try to run tricks against you. Like, they'll run a certain pocket strat that they think is perfectly tuned to you. Now, it may be perfectly tuned, or it may not be, but the point is that you run a big risk by having to face up into best of 1s. So both teams will absolutely be seeking to try to take out as many wins, take out as much winners bracket time as they can, and consequently it means that there's a lot of pressure on both these teams to actually take out this game 3.
Yeah, absolutely.
But hopefully we'll get CTY back up into this game soon. So, shooting from the hip, who takes this game 3, assuming we get these lag issues resolved? That's to you, buddy.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think about it for a second, because wow. I'm also, really tired right now. I've been up for a while.
I have to say that I think in a vacuum, you've got to slightly give the edge to VG, in my opinion. We do know that Chibi loves these playmaker mids, but we have not seen him as much on the Templar Assassin as we've seen him on the Queen of Pain and the Storm Spirit. So I don't know that he'll be able to as easily get to where he needs to be on this Templar Assassin. That's the first thing. The second thing is that, let's be fair, VG won Game 1 extremely convincingly, and they lost Game 2 fairly narrowly. If things had gone slightly differently, if ZSMJ had maybe popped off his BKB while the Shackle Shot was in flight from the high ground, and he was able to BKB, get the Aegis, and just continue from there, then they could have well won that game. So, just on the balance of the game's victories, VG, I feel like, are on slightly more solid footing here. That's not to say that AFD couldn't take this out. They very easily can, as they showed us in the last game. And I think that's what makes it so exciting for me.
Absolutely, and it's going to be interesting how VG laned this. The only problem with running that support Tide is that now Tide isn't really getting the levels that he really needs to get that early Ravage, and the earlier you get the Ravage, the more effective you're going to be. So, Also, a very aggressive ward placed by AFD here. It doesn't actually block the camp. This one does, though.
The Sentry should.
Sentry does, but this one doesn't. So they'll know if they try to contest the camp, the pull camp.
They actually, AFD, that was more of a defensive 5-man ward placement than it was a 5-man first blood attempt. They do just walk in, put down the wards, make sure that if VG were there, they would be able to respond. But they don't do that thing where you sort of just stick around waiting all day for the first blood to come around. They disperse into what their assigned lanes are. And in this case, that does mean that they are aggressive tri-laning, focused around the Chaos Knight with the Keeper of the Light and Rubik's support against this tri-lane that ends up being composed of ZSMJ, Fenrir, and Fi. So in the end, it is the #1 Dragon Knight on that sort of not solo, but the tri-lane safe. Who do you favor for this tri versus tri?
Who do I favor? I'm gonna give the edge to AFD just because they do have more lockdown, which is to say a lot, because of 2 stuns from 2 different players instead of just 2 disables from 1. Never mind that one of them is a channel, so it also disables yourself at the same time.
Sure. We did get another
more
pause.
potions.
I hope everything's okay with VG here.
Oh, it is an off-laning Lifestealer.
Yeah. It's the solo XTT going up solo on Lifestealer against Raveplu's Weaver. And Weaver's going to feel pretty good about this. It's tough for that, definitely tough for that Lifestealer to get kills. I mean, open wounds can just immediately be responded to with that Shukachi.
In this given lineup, I wouldn't be surprised to see him just completely forego the open wounds and instead pick up more points in Feast and Rage instead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
don't think he'll level too hard in the open wounds. I think 1 rank eventually might be useful in case anybody else comes. You can actually use open wounds as a pseudo escape for somebody chasing you, like a Templar Assassin, for instance.
This is true, but then I don't know how good that is as an escape in the long run.
Well, slowing down TA until she gets Blink is a pretty big deal if she can't keep hitting you.
Oh, but especially when you consider that there's still a Weaver who's going to be chasing after you with maximum.
Of course. It's just about triage, I feel. I don't think 1 rank would be remiss at, like, a level 4 or something. Especially if he wants to join fights, I mean, you're going to need it for somebody.
Yeah, exactly, because the life steal that's provided by it is just so strong.
Right.
Especially because spell steal happened.
Absolutely. So far, AFD doing pretty well for themselves. 7 for 1 on Templar Assassin on ChibiX in the middle. Doing a little better than CTY as far as last hits go, but only that tiny smidge. Weaver and Lifestealer, Raveplu and XTT, both getting everything they want in this lane pretty much. We are going to see Raveplu continue to harass XTT as much as possible with that gem. And actually, action bottom. ZSMJ, the big Illuminate comes through. They're chasing KSKS. But actually, there's the Reality Rift. They pick off ZSMJ, and this is a kill on Ken. This is quite the first blood for AFD. A statement of intent from them. And picking off that Dragon Knight early.
Yeah, you definitely cannot afford to let your hard carry go this early, and ZSMJ is probably going to be mildly upset about that, to say the least.
Well, what else could they have done, really? It was a really good Reality Rift late in that.
Yeah, I think part of the problem was that the stun from ZSMJ never landed. They never actually managed to drop a Dragon Tail onto KS, so instead he got lifted up, and that's what set up Ken to get that easy kill.
Right.
Especially after the fully charged 2-second Illuminate landed.
Yeah, I have to say, it's got to be a concern for VG, even this early, for Dragon Knight to only have 1 last hit to Chaos Knight's 10. They have to manage this lane a little better. They do actually clear out this ward, so there's the jungle camp. They are pulling, no stack, just going to pull the... Actually, it just gets the 1 ranged creep. Huh.
Yeah, it doesn't help that because he was dead, he ended up missing the entire creep wave, so... That's basically just farm.
Oh, a lift up on ZSMJ again. They may go for this. There's the Illuminate, just harassing him quite a bit. They don't Reality Rift to follow up, though.
I feel like they could have. I'm not exactly sure why they didn't.
It's rank 1. I think he wants rank 2.
I guess. Doesn't get any cheaper, though. Just kind of boosts.
The thing about Reality Rift is you don't know where you'll end up. If Chaos Knight ends up in tower range, they might not actually get much out of that.
Yeah, it's just the randomness that is Chaos Knight is a little bit unpleasant sometimes to deal with.
Right. Now, CTY has turned this mid matchup around. He's actually at 17 last hits to Chibi's 12. But the flip side of that, and it's a big flip side, is now Raveplu is exerting dominance over XTT. And we always knew that would happen. Weaver can harass Lifestealer all the live-long day with those bugs.
Yeah, it's really difficult for XCT to perform well in this 1v1 lane by virtue of, 1, Weaver is a very strong hero against the Lifestealer anyways, and 2, like, just a ranged hero. It's never fun to be laning solo against any ranged hero if you're melee. unless you're Darkseer. Then you just drop ion shells and live with it.
I do feel like you were right. I mean, this was a great call on your part, I feel, early on when you said, okay, VG drafted up a bunch of good heroes that they like, but are they going to be able to do well in lane with them? And so far, only CTY is really winning his lane. This bottom lane hasn't gone well for them. They're finally managing it with these lane pulls now. This may actually substantially turn it around, but so far, AFD have done very well for themselves indeed in this bottom lane, in addition to Raveplu really starting to dominate the top lane.
Yeah, he's the top farmer on the map right now. He gets lots of denies, and he's actually keeping a lot of farm away with Lifestealer because of that, and that's never a good sign. Almost level 6 to XCT's, almost also level 6. That's the advantage of 1v1 lane. Not a lot of, possibilities for you to get completely bullied out of lane, especially with low early burst heroes like Lifestealer and Weaver.
They go out on ZSMJ again. Good shackle. This might actually be the savior that ZSMJ needs. Nice long shackle duration, just critical to keeping him alive there.
I feel like Fi needs to really be up on front so you can at least anchor smash to reduce the damage that KS, that Shaolin Kid, that can do to ZSMJ when he starts getting beat on so hard.
Right.
So that's a lot.
And so far, just a ton of pressure coming out. Once again, both CTY and Chibi are having this battle of wits in the middle. Templar Assassin doing pretty well for herself, 23 for 9, 24 for 6 on the Queen of Pain, so pretty much identical in the mid. And this mid is still our most even lane, while the bottom just continues to be very difficult for VG to make work. It's just kind of an awkward combination with this Tidehunter, Shadow Shaman, Dragon Knight. Do you think the Tidehunter was an attempted response to IO, a preemptive IO response?
I doubt it. Honestly, I don't think Tide is that strong against IO. Personally, okay. I think he has some issues. Just because if you ravage a little bit early because you predicted a little bit wrong, then you're in for a world of pain.
AFD are charging in again. The 2-second stun up on Fi. KS lifts them up. Illuminate. This is a lot of damage onto Tidehunter, and that's another kill. 2 kills secured for AFD so far. They do chase off Shaolin Kid, but wow, angry Chaos Knight hitting on Fenrir repeatedly. Fenrir does not have the mana here. CTY's in. This could be a big turnaround. Complete whiff on the Sonic Wave, unfortunately, and Shadow Shaman gets picked off. CTY finally gets the kill. They've secured it at least onto the Rubik. But that's about it. That's all they get. And a 1-for-1 trade once again. Actually, more like
definitely. It's definitely not worthwhile for VG right there. Just because one ZSMJ didn't get the kill, but Ken did. Ken landed those kills. He got the killing blows on Tide and almost got the killing blow on Shadow Shaman. Actually, did Fenrir go down? Yeah, Fenrir got sniped by Keeper Light.
He got sniped, yeah, by a late Illuminate.
So that's actually phenomenal for AFD. Off to a really strong early start.
Yeah, no, I think AFD are getting secure positions in their lanes. We still see Raveplu. XTT is getting okay farm, but it's getting worse and worse the longer he stays in this lane. Just because Raveplu, actually an Infest getting thrown out, but he can just time-lapse out of this, and XTT will lose all the health that he gained from this Infest almost immediately. You can just see all that Infest is worth for him. Just not very much, unfortunately, with this Weaver continuing to harass. Actually, he may go for the throat here. He goes behind the tier 1 tower. Actually, not the greatest move by this Weaver, actually. Raveplu will have to walk around the long way. Meanwhile, big chase coming out from VG. They try to do something on Chibi here, but he's fairly safe. He's got his phase boots, just playing back into the backcourt and doing okay.
On another big note for AFD, they're looking to get this bottom tower, especially with Fort down. So that's the first tower heading the way of AFD.
Absolutely. And AFD, they take it pretty easily. It's a kill for Ken on the tower, and he now has a kill, 2 assists, and a tower. That actually gets him his Ogre Club. Interestingly, wow, BKB before even Armlet. They really want that BKB.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's a little bit of an interesting choice. ZSMJ turning... Oh!
Oh, we have an engagement in the bottom. Fi taking a lot of damage. ZSMJ taking massive damage. The Reality Rift goes out, but this actually puts them in trouble. They've already lost one. It looks like they may lose Ken as well, but not before he gets the kill on ZSMJ. Actually, a Keeper of the Light kill there. But a decent trade for VG, I feel. Even though ZSMJ does go down, they finally managed to find some kills in this lane, which is just so critical for them. It looks like Chibi looking to mop up. He's got the DD rune. We've seen just how scary Templar Assassin is with the DD rune. This is probably a death on 5. The Illuminate comes out. That's a kill for Templar Assassin. Chibi is on the board. That playmaker, not really making a play so much as concluding a play there, but still halfway to his blink if he wants it, or if he wants to rush that BKB. We could see that soonish too.
We're seeing that Shaolin Kid is actually looking to get an early mech by picking up a fast headdress. Interestingly, I thought he would have had it delivered to him by calling in Chaos Knight from base, but he opts not to do that.
Right.
In mid,
Ooh,
though.
Sorry, I totally missed the kill on Rubik. Where the heck was that? My bad.
Mid.
I totally missed the kill on Rubik. XTT getting on the board with that assist. Another kill for CTY, so trying to make up for that totally whiffed Sonic Wave. I actually know what he was going for there. It was really smart. And the problem with doing something really smart is that when it doesn't work, you end up looking really stupid. So it's not that it was that big of a mistake. He just didn't quite land a long distance Sonic Wave in that fight. But still 2 kills for him. So the good news is CTY not only stealing Chibi's hero, but also doing pretty well with it.
Exactly. It's a very good deny, just because CTY is a fairly good Queen of Pain player. Probably not his favorite and first choice hero, but nonetheless he's still showing that he's quite good at it and really showing off his versatility by doing so.
I think Queen of Pain is one of his heroes in his repertoire. It's maybe not his #1 favorite, but he definitely likes playing it. We've seen him on Queen of Pain in the group stage in this tournament, and he played quite well there too.
Yes.
I think their first or second game. Here we go. The SMJ is in ultimate form. They're trying to get the Dragon Tail here. Unfortunately, the telekinesis will forestall that. And AFD, nice blinding light, actually totally deflects this push. KSKS will just jump out. And meanwhile, Chibi putting a little bit of pressure on this tower. Nice defensive play there, avoiding that attempt. As soon as the thing about that ranged Dragon Tail is he has to telegraph it by popping the ultimate, so they knew it was happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Meanwhile, the SMJ is actually caught out solo here. Will they get the telekinesis? Not quite enough movement speed. Dragon Knight, of course, he does get that extra movement speed from his ultimate, so he manages to walk away from what would potentially be an incredibly dangerous situation going the other way. Meanwhile, I feel like the issue is still this Weaver. I mean, 29 last hits on XTT is okay. He's building towards his armlet, actually, with only tier 1 boots. But Raveplu, he's got 68 last hits, making his Lincolns quickly. And in the bottom, we have another fight. Dragon Tail throwing out on Ken. Quite a lot of damage. KSKS is a chicken. CTY is here. He's on a killing spree. This is probably another kill on KSKS here. Will they get this last hit for CSMJ? No, actually, Fenrir brutally blocking that Dragon Knight off, preventing him from being able to last hit. So they will secure that for CTY, and that improves this Queen of Pain to 4-0-0. In terms of levels, he's now tied for the highest, and that's actually great for VG. They really needed to try to exert some dominance over this try versus try, and they finally find a little bit there.
The only big problem is that we still have this absurdly fat Weaver on top, 71 and 14, only 12 minutes into the game. He currently has no kills, but that's not really his biggest problem right now because he's also keeping XCT pretty much away from the lane, so he can't really get much farm here either.
Right. The good news is, even though Ken is once again not farming that fantastically for the second game as Chaos Knight, Raveplu and Chibi are completely making it up for it. Chibi hasn't been participating in that many fights this time yet, but here we go. He's got Blink, and he actually picks up a kill immediately with it. Fenrir just getting immediately popped with that Blink. Blink comes down, Chibi's in the fights, and they get a kill in addition to a top tier 1 tower. And will they keep pushing? They've got a creep wave and they've got 4 people. Raveplu is leaving, so I don't think they'll continue this push. But a good play for AFD, continuing to put the ball squarely in VG's court to try to make something happen.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And CSMJ, I still feel like he's having a very tough time here. Building towards the Bracer, I think this is most likely drums, am I right?
Yeah, it's probably drums. You gotta love the cost efficiency of the item as well as the nice little mana bonus that it gives Dragon Knight. And Dragon Knight does have a very small mana pool, so every little bit does in fact help.
Yeah.
And we could see a drum an urn afterwards. For some reason, I doubt it, just because it is CSMJ and he is playing hard carry DK, not ganking DK.
I think urn would be giving up too much in terms of like seeding that you won't get farm.
Slot efficiency is gone.
They really like getting urn on their supports too. VG's very good about making sure that their supports always have urn in games. I haven't mentioned it this series, but it is a pretty big deal.
Ooh.
So anyway, Chibi building towards that BKB himself. You can see that AFD really value those BKBs this time. Weaver, of course, will skip that and go directly for Lincolns. We may see a BKB much later on. VG, meanwhile, they've started the push. Quick wave clear, the shock from the Shadow Shaman. There go the wards, ZSMJs in dragon form, and this is a lot of pressure on the tier 1 tower here, but they've given up a lot of ultimates for this. Let's see what AFD have in store for us here. The TPs start coming in, trying to pick off these wards, slowed down on ZSMJ and Fenrir. It looks like the chase will come out. Will we see a reality rift? 4-second stun on ZSMJ. He's a kid. The Sonic Wave comes through. Good Ravage, but the return Ravage from Chaos. It's only a level 1 Ravage. Fi taking a lot of damage. Actually, almost nobody on the ground yet. Just Rubik. It looks like Chaos Knight 2. Yes, CTY picks up his mega kill streak. Wraith Blue is in the middle of battle. He gets his first kill. He immediately gets responded to. He's going to time lapse. We probably will see him leave. Chibi just doesn't have the life to sustain this. Wraith Blue continuing to harass. ZSMJ taking some damage. But so far, this has not been a very favorable trade for AFD. 2 for 1.
Definitely in favor of Vici in that entire engagement, especially because the only hero Vici lost was the Shadow Shaman, and instead they lost Ken for it. So, favorable trade. Fantastic steal
for Ken and Chaos, and this was Chaos holding Ravage.
Yeah, fantastic steal from Chaos. Sadly, they really didn't make anything happen with it, AFD, as a team. Didn't make anything happen with the stolen Ravage.
Weaver isn't quite doing that much damage yet, is the thing. And CTY right now is still just wrecking everybody when he chooses to participate. He's 5-0-1 on this Queen of Pain now. Now you can sort of see from that fight just why AFD valued these BKBs so highly. But the problem here is that Ken hasn't made tangible progress towards this BKB in a while. Like, he doesn't have any components for it on the courier. If he keeps dying, he won't have armlet to make himself useful, and he won't have BKB to make himself alive. And you can just see that the lack of damage from that Chaos Knight was a pretty big deal in that fight. Ostensibly, you're going to be delivering the damage from Chibi, but he's going BKB too. So he's got mobility, but he doesn't have the damage yet either. It's only through levels that they're really getting it.
Yeah, so that is a huge downside. Luckily, they are very physical-oriented, so the armor reduction provided by Meld is pretty significant as far as improving their damage output, as well as in tandem with the Swarm. So they do have that as an option. And it does make ZSMJ's Dragon Knight a little bit less effective because all of that bonus armor will disappear.
Right. DD
I say a little.
bottled for Chibi. The lack of damage. Oh, Fi and Fenrir, they were stealthed. They don't get it. He blinks out. Chibi, very, very smart. Not trying to go for the throw of those two supports because that would surely be his doom there. Even with the DD rune, smart there. Very disciplined play to not actually go for that. And VG, their tier 1 tower in a bit of trouble here, but it does look like they'll mount a defense. CTY just going to clear out this creep wave pretty quickly. And he's moving towards his Orchid pretty quick. He's almost halfway there. AFD actually rotating into the Roshan pit. Since they know they can't necessarily get a kill with the double damage rune, they're going to do the next best thing. They're going to get a Roshan with the double damage rune. TA, of course, a great Roshan killer. She has this meld to reduce his armor substantially. And Roshan will actually drop lightning fast.
Yeah, it's just the amount of damage that Roshan takes when you have -8 armor thanks to meld, when you have the DD rune, is absurd. So that's Blink Dagger and the Aegis and Nogar Club, so she's actually really hard to kill right now.
Yeah, absolutely. This TA, even if she doesn't do the most damage when she doesn't have DD rune, will be almost impossible to take down. And the Lincoln's was complete as well on Wraith Blue. So AFD, they're finding their items so far. VG, meanwhile, they use the next every wards they're using intelligently. They're going to use this to take down this tier 1 tower. So trying to sort of get these outer towers. Unfortunately, AFD are going to have a very easy time with their own tier 1 tower. CTY just blinking away. Not really much you can do there, unfortunately.
Oh, ZSMJ on bot.
Ooh, ZSMJ actually very, very low, but Fi comes in. Actually, Wraith Blue could be in trouble here. They could. Here comes Infest. Wraith Blue will just walk out of here, no problem. But still, AFD, they've rotated to the mid. Refraction tanking the tower here. Just using this creep wave. They're going to try to keep this siege creep alive. Mechanism charge coming out from Shaolin Kid there. Ether Shock won't do very much to them, actually, and it looks like a tier 2 tower for AFD, honestly. Here comes the teleport. XTT's coming in. They could make something of this. The Lincoln's charge will deflect the Gush. Gonna clear out the creep wave really quick from Chibi here, and he's actually getting close to his Mithril Hammer. Sorry, to his BKB. He's only about 700 gold off of that. What's the status for... only about 1,200 gold off for Ken. So they really want those BKBs. They'll just get free outer towers while they can, and then the BKBs will make them feel more comfortable to do more than that.
Yeah, absolutely. When you have the BKBs up, it's really going to shut down a lot of VG's damage output, namely the damage output coming from Queen of Pain and almost all of the damage coming out from Tidehunter. And a good deal of the AoE damage that Dragon Knight puts out as well. So that's a lot of damage being prevented. It also prevents pretty much everything in Shadow Shaman's kit, especially when his ult is down, like it is right now.
Right. VG, continuing to try to get these towers. This is fairly smart of them, I think, to pressure this tower. They've got the drums up on ZSMJ. He actually popped off a charge there. CTY, of course, I think he's done... He's about 100 off from his Orchid. So Orchid is going to be a great... This is a little better timing than we saw Orchid in Game 2 for Chibi. About a minute faster. Of course, CTY has had a bit of an easier time. He's 5-0-1 rather than 1-4. Because obviously, VG focused so heavily on keeping Chibi down in that second game. A little less heavily this game, actually. They've really not focused very hard on picking off this TA.
Well, I think that's going to be a big problem later on down the line, because once Chibi gets enough farm, it's going to be really difficult for VG getting any kills on him with heroes like the Dragon Knight, although Lifestealer much, much better, because I believe Feast takes off 2 ticks, so... Yes,
Feast will remove 2 charges of refraction. I mean, not by itself, but the Feast and the auto tech are separate, so they take 2 charges of refraction total. Lifestealer are going to be very useful. Actually, a smoke coming out on the high ground Dire, but I think VG probably saw that Chibi was immediately smoked, so they're going to play safe here, and God bless them, because that would be trouble otherwise.
Yeah, sadly Chibi was hit by the smoke, so that's going to give them away big time.
Yeah. VG very clearly saw this. Rave Plu, meanwhile, just continuing to murder these creeps. 132 last hits for this Weaver. Oh, actually, VG may go for something here. They put down the Sentry Ward, and nothing! Not even close! Rave Plu just correctly sensing danger with his little Weaver antennae. That's the thing about bugs, man. They've got good instincts.
Those antennae are huge.
Just a casual stun thrown out on XTT.
Oh, whoa.
Not going to do too much, unfortunately. And he gets
out. Cluckles died.
Rave Plu is now going to harass the SMJ. Sorry, you okay?
Cluckles died.
Oh, Cluckles died. Huh. I totally missed that. Rave Plu really harassing ZSJ, but he's got to probably get out of here. Oh no, he takes the Hex. His time-lapse wasn't in time. What an enormous error from Weaver. This is a big kill. He actually was the highest level person on the map. ZSMJ getting up to level 10 from that. Oh, that was a serious mistake from Rave Plu. He didn't pop the time-lapse and pays dearly for it. I mean, Hex goes out instantly and time-lapse has a cast time.
Yeah, while he does go down, it's possible that AFD are fine with that just so they can at least pick up this top tower as well.
I guess,
but I feel like that was completely unnecessary.
Just Chibi is doing incredible hits just by virtue of being level 13. Nice Reality Rift. Fenrir getting picked off there. The Sonic Wave again on barely anything. CTY's had a good game in terms of positioning, but these Sonic Waves, I can't call these good. They're just not.
Yeah, most of them have been off their mark, so that's been a big problem for CTY here. What I'm thinking is, what is Rave going to go for next? He's sitting on 2,600 gold. Is he going to buy a damage item like an MKB, or is he going to go for more tank like a BKB?
I'm not sure. What would you do?
Probably MKB, just given that it improves your uphill pushing and it gives you a lot of damage to work with.
High ground. CTY, he actually is Orchided. Oh, we get a pause. I think VG might be lagging more than they'd like.
Yo, Ren Diabla.
Looks okay. 200-ish, not too bad.
That was a weird pause.
Sorry, we have an unpause. Orchid up. He's actually stunned out. This might be the Aegis down here. They try for the Ward Trap. They don't quite get it. ZSMJ 3-second stun. Good Ravage. Good counter Ravage again from KS. Wow, excellent play. ZSMJ in a lot of trouble here, taking a lot of damage. Rave Plu's on the field. He's going through. 4-second stun on Fenrir, and XTT is in a bit of trouble here as well. Weaver really harassing him down. The BKB will end, but only Ken down. They're clearing out the wards, and I don't know if they can get the racks here, but this is a favorable trade, frankly, for AFD, even considering. They lose the Aegis, but they pick up ZSMJ yet again.
Yeah, they lose Aegis and Ken, but that's definitely something that AFD are fine for taking, especially because Chaos Knight hasn't been doing too successfully this entire game, so they're not really too concerned with him so much as Rave Plu, comparatively. Who's sitting on a lot of gold. That is a lot of gold.
Yep. Just figuring out what he wants. I don't think Radiance would be a good pickup, but... No, I don't think Rapier would be a good pickup either. It would be way too chancy, considering he's already died. Like, he knows that if he gets out of position, he's going to die. Lincoln's is not enough against all the disables these guys have.
I definitely think MKB is more.
He'll go MKB, almost certainly. Here they go. They're going to take this tier 2 tower. It's fairly low. Not too much of an issue for AFD here. And VG, they find themselves on the back foot here. For actually, essentially I don't know. The first time that they've really just been convincingly behind. They're tied on kills, but they're down 10k gold. AFD just really pressing that advantage in the laning phase. And I really think the lanes were just really favorable for AFD, and they've really used that effectively. Here we go, they've high grounded again. The bug's getting thrown out from Wraith Blue. Lots of damage pressure on this tower. Fi does not have Ravage for another 50 seconds. And actually, oh, KS is still holding on to Ravage himself. XCT on the low ground, 4 second stun. They're going to pick him up. BKB popped for Ken. Lots of damage getting thrown out on CTY. BKB for Chibi as well. They're going to take the rest of this tower with that. Will they go on to Raxes? Their BKBs will run out. Long range, 3 seconds stun on ZSMJ, not a 4 seconds, so they decide not to follow it up. Wraith Blue really pressuring this tower. He actually has Sacred Relic, so he's picked it up. We'll see if it's Radiance or Rapier. But Chibi runs in. Just another big melt hit on CTY, and CTY just can't go in here because he doesn't feel safe enough. He actually blinks back, and they're just going to take the melee Rax, leave Weaver to pick off the ranged Rax, and get the heck out of here. And a completely clean Rax pickoff for AFD.
Phenomenal trade in favor of AFD. That said, now that I'm thinking about it, it's a Radiance. But now that I'm thinking about it, maybe he should have just gone Desolator on Weaver.
Oh, that would be good for pushing. But yes, he will finish his Radiance. And VG still have some low health players. Even though this is 25 minutes post-Lincolns, it will pick off Fenrir and Fi. I mean, they're only level 9. It will do damage to them slowly over time. They don't have any magic resist. There's no pipe or anything. There's no cloaks or hoods or what have you. And the Rubik is on AFD's side. He's actually started to take some ranks in Millfield.
He still has that Soul and Ravage as well.
No, it's gone.
Oh, no, it just vanished as I was saying it.
Yep.
That said, 25 minutes is still fantastic. It's still pretty good time for a Radiance. It's like good pub time for a Radiance, basically.
Yeah, but he had Lincolns. It was a full Lincolns and then a Radiance. In pub, you would just expect them to be hitting the Radiance with no boots right around now.
Yeah, but in pubs, you also expect like 2 last hits a minute.
Exactly. Anyway. No, I honestly think Wraith Blue has had a great game. The Radiance, frankly, it's not just the burn damage. It's a pretty decent item of damage in its own right. Not the same as MKB, of course, but it will give him some nice AoE. And with that survivability, I mean, the fact that he has Lincolns already and he's level... Is he the top level on the map still? Yeah, he's tied for level 15 with Chibi. So, I don't know. I think it's an okay pickup. We don't see Weaver Radiance that often these days, but it's not like it's trash.
Yeah, it's not exactly that. It's just because Radiance as an item has fell heavily out of favor as a farm enhancer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the primary reason why we would be picking up Radiance. It is a decent farm enhancer, but, you know, comparison to something like a Mayoner or a
jump right on Fi. He's in trouble here. He may have to pop Ravage to survive, and it's still a rank 1 Ravage, unfortunately. Good Hex there. Fenrir really protecting his buddy. But can VG actually take this fight? I'm not convinced by any means. No, they can't. They retreat up to the high ground.
Yeah, the only problem is the more time they spend just kind of dancing around in mid, the more time bot is going to be pressured, and that's not something you can really afford to let happen for very long.
They can clear out waves pretty quickly, even just CTY on wave clearing duty. However, they are pressured enough that AFD feel extremely comfortable taking the Roshan, and Roshan will drop even faster than they dropped the first time. This armor reduction, the damage, will they put it on Chibi or Ken? I think probably Chibi? Yeah.
Probably Chibi.
He's just got the damage. I mean, he has Chrysalis in 2K.
I'd say probably Chibi. Well, honestly, one, he might be able to just wait around, finish the Desolator, and then go for the push. Because he's like only 800 gold away from the Desolator, however much the recipe is. I'm forgetting. So he's pretty close to that. The only reason why you'd give it to Weaver is so that in the event that he gets locked down and he can't time lapse, he still has a get out of jail free.
Right.
So.
No, I mean, I like it on Chibi, actually, because, as you mentioned the first game, I think, when they put an Aegis on Chibi, he is their most aggressive player. Like, he's the one generating the situations that they can take advantage of. And so, if he generates a slightly incorrect situation, you still feel comfortable coming with him because he does have those 2 lives.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just having the extra life, and he bought something. What did he buy?
Probably
he bought the recipe. He bought the recipe, so he's actually 700 gold away from the Daedalus.
Pipe done for Shaolin Kid. Wow. Only a level 11 Keeper of the Light, but he has a lot more items. He has Pipe and Mech. Whereas Fenrir, I mean, he's pretty soy saucy right now. He's just got the wand, boots, and not even a bracer.
Yeah, if we look at all of these, all of these supports as a whole, frankly, the ones on VG are underfarmed horrendously. Right? Even Fi is 500 gold behind KS.
Yeah, Fi just really wants that Blink Dagger, but he doesn't have it.
Yeah, and he's 3,000 behind.
And even when he gets it, Radiance is just like stuff.
Yeah, that's the problem with Radiances. Against Radiances with Blink Dagger carriers, you can't really escape with. You can't escape with it. Period.
Right.
But it's a lot harder to initiate with it. Someone has a gem.
It's Ken, I think. No, actually, it's...
No, it's KS.
Yeah, KS has it.
KS still open wounds.
I do want to say, CTY is close to that BKB, and they really want this. He's had to just back out of engagements that you can tell he sorely wants to engage. He sorely wants to get kills, and he just gets so much damage thrown on him as soon as he jumps in. And so I think the BKB will help with that. They do ward on the high ground. We have a piped team, AFD, trying to push in here, but I guess they decide not to. So they feel that having the Shadow Shaman wards baited out is enough for them. Actually, maybe they'll rotate to the top lane where there are no Shadow Shaman wards. That looks to be what they're going to do. They've got a bit of a cooldown on this pipe, but only about 35 seconds. Shadow Shaman wards still down for 90. Of course, these are rank 1 Shadow Shaman wards as well. And here we go. AFD, they may attempt a high ground right here. They've got buyback on a few heroes as well. Chaos Knight has it, Weaver has it, none on Chibi actually, because he brought it from Deadless. ZSMJ has gone Fire Dragon, so getting that AoE. Oh, and already a kill. There's the Ravage, pretty big, but is it enough? Five gets the Ravage off, but they just don't have enough follow-up. Rubik still sounds, but he stole Ravage again. KS has this Ravage. When VG come to defend their racks, they're just going to find themselves AoE crowd control. Oh, this is a lot of damage. Pipe comes up. I don't know if VG can defend this Rex. They may try to have to defend their third set of racks once Shadow Shaman's back up. What can they really do? Another blink in by Chibi. Just dealing damage, just going in and just hurting CTY, making him feel like he can't engage. And here it goes, the second set of racks. AFD find themselves perched upon the stoop of advancing in this tournament to the winner's bracket. And VG find themselves perched on the edge of falling to the loser's bracket. Here it goes, the tier 3. This is VG's last chance. They have to make something happen here. The counter Ravage from KS finally hits. They take out Fi in short order. XTT doing what he can. A Shackle coming out on Chibi. But at best, this is his Aegis. Oh dear, they may get it. They finally bring down that Aegis. CTY did finish his BKB. He popped it off in that fight. But all they get is the Templar Assassin so far. And oh, the trade. Fi actually bought back. He does get stunned. The Spike Carapace, not Spike Carapace, the Kraken Shell will immediately remove that stun off, but they're 4v5, and here AFD go. They take the third set of Raxes, and VG will GG, and we see them drop their first 2 games in this tournament, sending them down into the loser's bracket.
Yeah, and phenomenal play coming out of AFD, not AFG, AFD. Ken may not have played as well as he could have, but frankly, when you have mids like, wow, I'm blanking on names now because I'm so tired.
Chibi.
Yeah, when you have mids like Chibi, honestly, it doesn't make the end of the world. Also, Raveplu played just phenomenally this game as well. So
I mean, he dominated his lane, but honestly, the Weaver play I'd say was mostly crisp. The only sort of big play opportunity he had, I kind of feel like he screwed up because he.
Look at Weaver's items.
I know, double Chrysalis, double Chrysalis all the way. I really don't like that move, so I won't go for it. But I do want to say, I feel like Weaver just had a crisp game. Raveplu played very well, but nothing out of the ordinary. Who did play extraordinarily? KS.
Oh, absolutely.
Every
Phenomenal
Ravage.
steals.
Not a single Ravage wasn't stolen. I mean, that's... Man, I don't know. The excellent play from KS. Excellent play from Chibi. Just as soon as VG took the pressure valve off, they really applied pressure on him in Game 2. Game 3, they let him go free. He hits his blink. He gets his BKB. And again, right back to generating those opportunities. So in the end, what they mainly wanted Ken for is a mobile stun and a win in the lane. And that's what he gave them. They won the lane. ZSMJ had 4 last hits at like 8 minutes or something. And so Dragon Knight was frankly never a factor at all. They were relying in fights. I mean, they lost 2 lanes. VG convincingly lost bottom, and they convincingly lost top. I know that they had lag issues at the beginning of the game, but you really can't chalk up those lane situations to lag. They sort of just got out-strategized, in my opinion. XTT Lifestealer is not favored in a 1v1 lane against Weaver. And their Dragon Knight Lifestealer Shadow Shaman lane lacked the tools necessary to counter the Chaos Knight Keeper Light Rubik. They won mid, and in fact CTY was huge in the early game, but eventually he just couldn't find the opportunities because every time he'd come in, Chibi would be like, Templar Assassin says no, and just smack him with a meld right across the face, and CTY would be forced to go back.
Yeah, it feels like this Dragon Knight pick kind of ruined VG's whole plan. I feel like they could have gone for a more powerful carry, or even the Lifestealer pick. They could have picked an offlaner that would have competed better against other more traditional offlaners.
Yeah, and this Tidehunter pick ended up costing them so much. I mean, frankly, the counter Ravages were... When you have a Tidehunter and you don't really get Ravage advantage because the other team casts as many Ravages as you do, it's just not that useful. And KSKS, I mean, I can't say enough. He even... I think a couple of cases, I didn't point this out during it, but he would get the rage through, and then get the counter Ravage. I mean, just excellent... Such good play from this Rubik here. KSKS not actually showing off that many huge plays in the series prior to now, but in this third game, really making a debut in a huge way. AFD, I mean, this is an upset, no question about it. Their games in the group stage looked convincing but scrappy. Like, they really looked like sort of one of those freewheeling Southeast Asian teams that either wins big or loses big. And I feel like they really pulled together some games that weren't just risk-taking. The second game they won through waiting for their moment. They even waited. I even thought they shouldn't wait, if you recall. I thought that they should be more freewheeling and sort of C-Dodo style. But they just hunkered down, found the opportunities on ZSMJ, and won the game. And that's pretty much exactly what they did Game 3, except with ZSMJ not getting nearly as big.
Yeah, it just felt like the hard carries that VG were looking at trying to make big never got big enough. So the game ended up ending before they could make big plays. So... fantastic play coming out of AFD, though. They were able to completely shut down ZSMJ in lane, and they were able to find some massive kills with Chibi.
Yep,
so
absolutely. All right, let's do some wrap-up. Thanks you so much for watching, folks. Everybody in Dota TV, we really appreciate you buying a tournament ticket. Tell all your friends to get one. There are some fantastic games being played in this tournament. Everybody on Twitch TV, either on this stream, twitch.tv/NETOLIC TV, or on any other stream, we also really appreciate you guys. Thank you for following the competition so far. This is the Netolic Pro League. Raid Call is our primary sponsor. Raid Call Channel 2013 is hosting giveaways throughout the tournament. You can check that out and discuss your favorite teams at any time you like, but particularly what games are running. Our next game will be in 9 hours exactly, where we will resume the West Bracket Winners Bracket with Dust Gaming, the American team, going up against Netolic South America, the Peruvian team. So that'll definitely be an interesting game to watch as well. I hope to see you all there. In 21 hours, we will resume with the... Oh, no, I'm wrong. Our next East Bracket games will be on the 18th or the 17th of April. The 17th of April, where we will resume Losers Bracket play with Losers Bracket Round 2 games. I appreciate you guys so much for checking us out. I am your primary English caster for this tournament. My name is Vikromond, VYKROMOND. You can check me out on either my website, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. Basically, as if you type my name into your browser, you will probably get me. My co-caster, El Presidente, you want to shout out your Twitter real quick?
all I have is my Twitter, and it's at @LPresDota. I only made 3 posts, and they were all referring to yesterday's game, so they're not even relevant anymore.
Well, you might want to post some more.
I would if I had anyone following me.
All right, well, thank you so much for watching, guys. Again, we really appreciate it. We hope you'll join us for future rounds of this tournament. We've had some fantastic games today, some fantastic games yesterday, and we hope to bring you more action soon. There will be rebroadcasts of this series later on this afternoon or evening if you're on Eastern Time. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.